you notice how they went up? Guess how they were decided upon? I don't know. Darts. It was entirely arbitrary. They were pulling numbers out of the air. They ran it like a Ponzi scheme. If you don't know what a Ponzi scheme is, they got to keep bringing more in to pay what they have to put out, and everything else goes in their pocket. So we concluded what we were supposed to conclude. We concluded that Royal Club International was RCI. That's not true. This was the other thing they did. I jumped ahead. Lots of different names. You would have seen them on your contracts. Royal Club International was one. Click again. Royal Club Resorts, RCI, Royal Crown Resorts. While they're throwing all these names at you, they're talking about the vacations you're going to take, and they're talking about all these great things. And you're not noticing these are different company names. This isn't one company name. These are a bunch of different company names, and they're confusing us. Even in the contracts they gave you, there was no indication that Royal Club International was not RCI. Click it one more time. This clause here, I'm going to read it because probably from where you are you can. Royal Club International membership is restricted only to the value of RCI points issued at the time of purchase of Royal Club International membership to a new member until he or she has submitted his or her RCI points for RCI booking, thereby determining the specific week number and part thereof. Oh, it goes on. At the top of this, it says definitions. That's not a definition. That is a term of the contract. Doesn't belong here. But it helps keep you confused about Royal Club International and RCI, and then hit the button again. Down here we've got RCI shall mean. This is the first time it appears anywhere that RCI is not Royal Club International. RCI shall mean Resort Condominiums International, which is an independent organization and reservation facilitator governed by its own rules and regulations, separate from the rules and regulations of the club. It's not the same. Now, when I signed up, the nice sales guy said, listen, you can travel anytime. Don't worry about it. All you have to do is make sure all your payments are always made on time, and you can travel anytime you want. But don't travel till 2004, because you're going to build up the points. You're going to borrow points. It's going to be really, really great. So we didn't travel. We waited. We made our payments faithfully. We knew we were looking forward to the kids were ready. Oh my goodness, 2004 was going to be spectacular. And then and when Richard Nesbitt signed us up, he said, he saw that I read the contract carefully. I did. I'm embarrassed to say I read it word for word, very carefully. And he said, you know what I'm going to do? I've got a Surlox binder in the back. I'm going to bind your contract right into the book so that if you ever need to look at it, if you ever want to read it over again, it'll be right there. So 2004 came. I called to make a reservation. And the nice girl on the phone said, oh, no, you can't use your membership. And I said, why can't I use my membership? And she said, because you're not paid in full. I said, well, I was not told I had to be paid in full. If I knew I had to be paid in full, I would not have opted for the payments, you see. When am I paid in full? She said, 2007. I said, let me get this straight. I should pay club dues and maintenance fees on a membership I can't use until 2007. She said, right. That didn't sit well with me. Is that frustrating to you, just hearing it? I was livid. So I demanded I was going to talk to Richard, the guy that signed us up. And she said, well, I'm going to have him call you. I said, good. He'll call you in the morning. Okay, good. The next morning came and the next morning went. So I called them again. Richard didn't call me. I don't know why he didn't call you. That is so unlike him. He should have, you know what, I'm going to leave another message for him. Don't you worry, he's going to call you. Another day came and went. 2.5 weeks came and went. Still no call from Richard. In my brain, my naive brain, I'm thinking, the owner of this company would have a heart attack if he knew what his employees are doing. I thought Richard had some kind of thing going that the owner didn't know about. So I wrote a letter of complaint to Andre Muran, director of Royal Club International. And Andre Muran didn't contact me, nothing. The way I wrote the letter, he should have been on the phone the very minute he read it. I was mean. I made threats of media attention. I made threats of exposing their whole scam. Nothing. So I waited and waited. And in the letter I said, Mr. Muran, I'm starting to get the sense that I have been the victim of a clever con. And if it turns out that's the case, you are not going to like how far I will go to draw people's attention to what you're doing. And that didn't do anything either.
Now, there was a point that I intended to bring out on the 19th, and I meant to tell people in both sessions, because it was the reason I brought up Richard telling me that he had Surlocks bound the contract into my members album in the first place. And that was that at this stage of the game, I realized, wait a minute, I've got that contract, and Richard put it into the members album, and he Surlocks bound it. And so I dug into my materials, and I whipped out my members album and flipped to the back where the contract was supposed to be. And there was a contract there, but it was blank. It was an unsigned contract, and there was an unsigned promissory note, and all of my materials were blank.
So I contacted the Better Business Bureau. They did what they could, which was nothing. There is a negative report at the BBB. I know, I was impressed too. I filed a formal complaint with Alberta Government Services at the time, and I provided them with a very detailed description of what had happened. And I got a phone call from Jean Peoples, who was heading up the investigation into Royal Club International at the time. And she said, you know, we've got about 20 complaints against these guys and no evidence. We can't go after them. We've had no evidence until now because you have evidence. They used the Alberta laws to help convince people it was safe to sign up. They told everybody, look, you can sign up now. And under the law, if you change your mind, you can cancel within 10 days. And if you can cancel for any reason. And if you cancel, you've got 15 days, or we have 15 days to give you your money back. That was absolutely true. What they didn't tell you was they don't care. You call them up and you say, I want to cancel it. And they say, no problem. You can cancel. Absolutely, we understand. Just pack up everything we gave you. Pack up your contracts. Pack up your catalogs and the little goofy bag we gave you. Pack it all up, send it to us, and when we get it, we'll cut you a check and pop it in the mail. So people did that. They packed up every shred of evidence they had against the club, their contracts, the proof that they had a contract. They packed it all up and sent it to them. And guess what never came in the mail? The check. This is why Service Alberta didn't have any evidence. Everybody was sending it back to them and then filing a complaint.